guys. So you guys cheated on the pod a little bit last week.
I know.
That
we had to run off, see what else is going on in the pod game, see what the industry's doing with the.
And then meanwhile, you got a really cool cartoon drawn of the two of you.
You know, I think first, and this is another benefit that our YouTube listeners and viewers will be able to see. This is the coolest animation of myself that I've ever seen. It's cool. We sent in a picture and they did this. That was like really cool. Why they made Noah lighter skinned than me when I'm actually lighter skinned than Noah, that's for a separate episode.
Maybe it's hard to convey that over Zoom. I don't know.
Honestly, and my lighting was all messed up, but no, whatever. But yeah, y'all, so me and Noah got the pleasure of joining Michael and Eli from Endless Scroll podcast, which, you know, they're like very similar to what we do, music industry podcast. I think their like tagline is where like music and the internet intersect. And we got to talk about rap for like an hour. And it was cool. It was a fun conversation. No, like, what'd you think of it? I thought it was, we talked about
it was super cool. Eli and Michael were super cool guys. We obviously had Eli on here a while ago. Check that episode out. We talked about Moody
like episode 20 something. Check it out.
There you go. Yeah, it was great. We talked about like a lot of stuff. We talked about collab albums, you know, going off a Lil Durk and Lil Baby's project. We talked about some new artists coming up like Pooh Shiesty, Polo G's album. Yeah, man, it was a lot of we talked about some of our favorite albums of this year, rap albums this year. So yeah, it was good. Good episode. We talked for a long time. It kind of just, it was really nice.
How long was it? I haven't listened yet, but how long?
The episode was like an hour and 18 minutes.
It's honestly like our episode. It was, but it was a really fun conversation. We talked about all like a lot of the newer people in rap and some of the rappers who, even if they've been around, they're only just now getting attention, and whether we think they'll have the same attention and acclaim next year when all the other like rappers kind of come back and come out of pandemic hiding. So it was fun. Check that out. Shout out Endless Scroll. And if any of you listening now are here because you heard us on Endless Scroll, strap in. It's just getting started.
Well, shout out to you for coming to listen to our podcast. If you're from
okay, well, I feel like that's a good segue. Welcome to the 97 Demo podcast, where we give you the latest in music news, and a whole bunch along the way. Today we're having a fun conversation. I feel like kind of a sequel to the conversation we had on Eli's podcast. It's more of a inside look at, or insight into the new generation of rappers and sort of the expectations they have for touring, putting out constantly releasing music. And we have a fun guest who's going to help us break all that down. But before we get to that, I'm Nnamdi.
I'm Noah.
And I'm Avery.
You're watching.
Can we watching the 97 demo?
Can we please record ourselves doing that?
You need to like draw it like the Disney Channel mouse.
But for us, we'll draw like our logo little cassette.
Yeah, well, actually, that sounds a lot easier. Yeah,
it's a lot easier. Literally when they did those commercials, I was like, how did they like?
Well, have you seen the leaked videos where it's like it turns out the people they didn't know how to draw it either?
Yeah, they're so bad. Great.
Okay, well let's jump into headline. So I saw this one. I don't remember who sent it, but I pitched it for my real job. So I was like, oh, this could be cool. Dr. Dre and Jimmy
Iovine.
Wait, this isn't your real job? 97 Demo podcast, not your real job?
Well, I have 6. So, you know, I jump, it rotates. You know, when you're a man of mine.
This is Noah and I's main source of income.
It is our real job. We make nothing.
Yeah,
I'm the Bezos of the podcast.
There you go.
Oh, I don't like that actually. Never mind. I'm not the Bezos of the podcast. But Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine, they launched what they're calling the coolest high school in America. They're doing this in LA. I know that they said the schools are going to be, it's like all about creating critical thinkers and like people who want to be more than just like, they said it's not just for people who want to do rap or music. It's like people who want to be entrepreneurs and innovators. And like, they're not going to be investing into like the LA school system to do the school. It's already been approved by the LA Board of Education. Apparently it'll be here by 2022. And these headlines are always super cool to me because we've seen this, like LeBron James did something similar when he opened a school. I feel like I've seen something about Russell Wilson and like H.E.R. doing something like, I think like opening a school or something like that. So I think it's really cool that you're seeing people sort of go to these Black areas because this is going to be in more of like a Black community.
And Latino
invest. Yeah, Black and Latino community, and really invest. So like I mess with it.
Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre have a long long-running relationship, professional relationship. So this kind of just makes sense. And I remember actually, I don't know if it was an interview like a year ago, a couple years ago. I remember them announcing this actually, like, hey, we want to do a school where it's like a cool school, or maybe that was USC where they announced a school of like music or something like that. But I see them.
Yeah, they named something after Jimmy Iovine.
Yeah, exactly. But they've kind of taken this dive in the academic community at USC already. I think I'm correct though with that.
I think so.
So wait, these two specifically?
I think Jimmy Iovine. He donated.
Yeah, Jimmy Iovine, but Dr. J was like there. He was talking about it. It was like an interview. He was like, yeah, my daughter would do that or something like that. So it was something. It's really interesting to see them get in this space, and now they're coming out with their own. Not coming out. It's not an album. It's a school.
New school just dropped.
New school just dropped.
Your latest school.
Your latest school, exactly. But yeah, so
the whole
really
thing.
cool.
It sounds very like when I read it, it sounds very like Rock Nation brunch to me, but it's still pretty cool. And like their connections obviously like really beneficial for a lot of the students. So
I mean, they're billionaires. So if anyone should be opening a school.
And also they're like, they talked about Apple, they reference Apple specifically, and obviously they're like business connection
that
with
school
Apple.
tech gonna be crazy.
Probably gonna be some like pipeline or something, which would be kind of cool.
Absolutely.
I just want to say, I feel like the bigger thing here for me, and the reason I like this story is because, again, it's like they're building this school at a place where, you know, as at least according to LA Times, where Black and Latino students have struggled with low achievement. You know, so it's like this is an inner city thing. They're really investing in this community, and they're like creating different opportunities. Like, you may not achieve the most academically, but do you have an entrepreneurial mindset? Like, do you want to be the guy who makes the next Marvel or Apple or whatever? And they're cultivating that. And I think a lot of communities like this have been without that, when, you know, more privileged communities have had that for decades, and that's why you get what you get.
More,
you know, so shout out to them for doing this, man.
Yeah, that's great.
What do we have? What's next on our list?
I put this one in here.
This was good.
So Spotify announced their competitor, or I guess dropped their competitor for Clubhouse. It's called Green Room, and it's like an expansion of Locker Room, which they bought a few months ago. And Locker Room is like a sports app where you can kind of like join different communities and talk about sports. Like after the game, people hop on Locker Room and just to reflect on it. So I think it was yesterday.
I didn't know that.
Formally launched their app called Green Room, which is basically literally a Clubhouse. I was about to say ripoff competitor, and they it's the same thing as Clubhouse, just through Spotify.
You know how I feel about this? Even though Clubhouse is still doing their thing and everything, I feel like, and this is probably gonna work because Spotify is behind it, but I feel like people aren't gonna go out their way to like go, like Twitter already has one, and I see a lot of people already using that. Yeah. And people already on Twitter a lot. I don't know. I don't know if people are gonna go like, oh my gosh, after a game, let me go to Spotify.
Yeah. No, maybe. The other couple things they announced with this was that one is that you can take the audio that you recorded through it and turn it into a podcast afterwards, because they own Anchor. And the other, which I know Nnamdi will be interested in, and the other thing that was interesting is they also launched a creator fund, and there weren't like many details on that, but there is a creator fund going along with this.
Now that's a game changer.
What you're saying is, after pod, we're having a post-pod discussion about getting into that creators fund. I got it. But you know, I was confused because I thought this was going to be integrated into the Spotify app.
No, it's a separate app.
I was scrolling through Spotify and I was like, where is this thing? It's a separate app, which I think that will, like, to Noah's point, I think getting people to download a separate app to do this may be the challenge for Spotify. But I mean, for me, when I saw this, I was like, oh, I could see myself doing this before Clubhouse, because Clubhouse there wasn't any structure or theme to Clubhouse, which I think was one of its benefits. It's what it was sold as. But after a while, it's like people just start making rooms about anything. The conversations aren't as good. Celebrities started joining it, and that changed the dynamic. So this, I feel, could be successful in the sense of it's already linked to Spotify, and people who are musically inclined, like me and Avery, if you had Spotify, like I could easily be like, yo,
I honestly don't think you need to have a Spotify account to be a part of Green Room. It's beneficial. Obviously, you can like link the accounts, but I don't think you need Spotify to be a part of it.
Like play music in these rooms? That's what I would want to know. Don't they have an app like that where you can, like, if you're with your friends, you can like play?
Spotify also has like a feature on the app, like listening sessions or something like that.
Yeah, I think the idea of making it into a podcast, like you record it and it just turns to a podcast afterwards, because Spotify is obviously
they own Anchor too, so
huge, in the podcast games. Yeah, that's super awesome. That's super dope.
It's interesting. Spotify's been getting
Yeah.
more into physical products, and this is their first like social media, so it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm rooting for them. So look, let's see what they
Avery
do.
and Nnamdi are Team Spotify for sure.
I've long time Team Spotify over here.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is just it really makes me happy that we've been doing this for a year, and I really wish we honored that when it happened, because now we have we're coming back to things like anniversary kind of thing. So last year we had I think an entire episode about the XXL freshman class, if I'm correct. I want to say it was an episode.
Mhm.
And this year we're not doing an whole episode. Well, we kind of are, but I think it's always fun to see who at least XXL, I won't say the hip hop industry, but at least this acclaimed hip hop publication has deemed the newest top, the new artists on the rise. This list I feel wasn't as surprising. There were some names that I was like, oh, but I think most of the names I was like, okay, I could 42 Doug, Low Millie, Murray, even Pooh Shiesty. I could see that.
Coileray,
Ian Dior.
But Ian Dior just had that. What was his song? Was it Mood? Was that him?
Yeah, he had a remix. He was on Mood. Yeah. I recognize Ruby Rose. She's from Atlanta. I know BLX ST. He's kind of like Bryson Tiller type,
oh yeah, I've heard it. Yeah, I've heard
R&B.
it before.
Yeah, he had a cool project that released last year. DDG, he's like a YouTuber that went into rap.
That's so sick.
Yeah, he's like a YouTuber that went into rap, and I'm like, oh, now he's actually
the
getting
fan voted freshman 10th spot winner.
Yeah, that's what they always do. It's like they pick the 9, and then a fan vote picks the 10th spot. So
hold on, let's read the names for our audio listeners. So it's 42 Doug, Ian Dior, Coileray, Pooh Shiesty, Flo Millie, Murray, Ruby Rose, Blast. I want to say his name.
I don't know, maybe
Tusi, Lakia, and DDG. So the back half don't really know, but front half makes sense to me.
Front half's kind of loaded. I mean, that's a lot of up and coming talent.
Yeah, for sure.
I saw people hating on this list.
I mean, people hate on every list.
No, I don't feel like people hated on last year's list.
This one makes so much sense though. These guys are huge.
Well,
are they?
Sometimes say how did this person not make the list? And some, people don't understand. Artists turn down the XXL freshman list all the time. The XXL.
What's the artist that you think turned down the XXL?
I'm not saying now. I don't know who now, but I'm saying it's happened before. Benny the Butcher turned it down. All the good you see Conway the Machine, he's turned down before. Drake and Nicki are some of the most famous ones who turned. A$AP Rocky turned it down before. Artists turn it down for whatever reason. It's I don't feel like doing it. Oh, I don't want to do it. So
has Lil Baby ever been on a cover? He's someone like Lil Baby I can maybe see turning it down. But I think most artists.
I don't think he was on the freshman list. Yeah.
I could see him turning it down, but I feel like most artists, or Roddy Ricch, was he on a list at all ever?
He was on the list. He was on the list with Corday, I believe.
Okay, so it's I don't know. I guess you're right. So I mean, let's see. I feel like in comparison to some other lists, this list kind of had it hard. But I mean, I think a lot of the people on here, like Avery said, have already sort of seen a rise for themselves this year, and they're kind of established already. So let's see how this list holds up in a year or two. I want to ask you guys a question, and I'm thinking of this live, so I'm going to Google it. How do you think last year's XXL freshman list has held on? Held on?
Chica has probably been the most successful one out of all of them, right? I mean, she's got the Grammy.
Successful?
Not. Absolutely.
Jack Harlow?
Avery, yeah, Jack Harlow. I forgot about
Jack Harlow, man. Come
on.
Not even Polo G.
G.
Baby Keem.
I mean, Chica got the Grammy. Chica got a Grammy nomination.
All right, she got a Grammy nom.
Yeah, but we all know the Grammy moms are.
Shout out to Chica. I'm glad she got that. But
yeah, we had Rod Wave,
or I feel like as far as being established in the industry, Rod Wave, Jack Harlow, Baby Keem,
Mulatto,
Polo G, Mulatto.
Jack Harlow probably had the most success. This is a good list too.
It is. This is a very strong list.
Say Rod Wave, yeah.
Rod Wave, yeah. This is even 24K Golden. He hasn't really. I haven't seen him since Mood, but I mean, that was a good list, and I think it's held on pretty well.
Lil TJ got that song with J. Cole coming out apparently.
Lil TJ, yeah.
And LE Chopper's been around, so.
Yeah, okay, so I guess this list held up pretty well. I wonder what we said about it. I kind of want to re-listen to that.
I think we liked it, I think.
I think we liked it.
I think we did, yeah. I remember us. I think I may have hated on Jack Harlow, but, what are you going to do?
But yeah, he's killing it now. So.
He is killing it.
New releases. Let's check it out. We had a little bit of everything. H.E.R. gave us an hour-plus album with Back of My Mind. We'll get into that, I'm sure. I hate that I didn't even realize Gucci Mane put out an album. I'm so sorry, Atlanta. Amigos already hit us with a deluxe a week after Culture 3 came out, which I don't know how to feel about that. And of course, we had some good singles from Tyler, the Creator. Logic is back, apparently. So what did you guys think? What were you feeling? Let me know.
This H.E.R. album. I know we're gonna review it next week, right?
Are we committing to that like pod?
We said we were.
I know, but that was what you said. 19 songs in an hour and something. Better slap.
There's some. So H.E.R. I listened to it all the way through. I don't know if you guys did yet.
Listen to some songs. It's a very
There are
long
some
album.
good.
On Apple Music, it's not 20 songs because it has like a video at the end of like the creation of the album. So I was like, oh, take that away. It's an hour and 20 minutes, which is that's not deluxe, the regular version.
There are some good songs on there. That being said, it's very long. Hard to make 20 consistent songs. I'm sure we'll get into that more next week, but H.E.R. did her thing on some songs. So. The features are pretty good too, by the way.
Yeah, H.E.R. had a lot of features. We got to remember, this is her debut first album. Like
we're talking Grammy and Oscar winner H.E.R.'s first album.
It's just ridiculous.
Hold on, relax. Hold on. You know, we're not gonna come with our Filipino and black sister over here. You know,
I love H.E.R.
I love awesome. H.E.R. I do love H.E.R., but it's ridiculous.
Wow. What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of this?
I'm not gonna mess up my H.E.R. interview.
What do y'all think of this Tyler the Creator song?
It was dope.
I liked it. I liked can I say I liked his promo for it during the Billboards, like randomly in LA.
Hold on, did y'all call the number? I called the number.
No, I haven't listened to it yet.
I saw a video on Twitter where someone called the number and recorded it. So
oh, okay. Yeah, I called the number. It was super cool. I've actually heard artists do that before. I've done that.
I feel like
he's done it before, right?
I'm not sure.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I
remember Soulja Boy did it because with "Kiss Me to the Phone," I remember that was a thing from like 6th grade. Yeah. But let me ask you guys: do you feel Lumberjack? I feel like that made sense. It felt like Tyler the Creator's bag. Like it made sense after Igor. Yeah. It kind of reminded me of what was the album he did before Igor with the Kali Uchis song was on there. Flower Boy. This felt like that. Is that like
Flower Boy?
Did y'all get that at this? Like I felt like this could have been a Flower Boy like sort of track.
Yeah, I agree. I mean everything. Oh man, Tyler.
I hear him rapping again.
Yeah, I agree. But I agree with you, Nnamdi. It kind of fits into that. Everything since I wasn't a big fan of his earlier work, but when he got to like Cherry Bomb, I was like, ooh, interesting. There were some sounds he was messing with that I really enjoy. And then Flower Boy, I thought was just incredible. So everything since Flower Boy, I've loved like all the music he's released then and he's been on. I love. So I expect nothing less from this project. And he was rapping his ass off on Lumberjack. So. Mm-hmm. Cool with it.
Do you know what I think I dislike more than like deluxe albums? I know we've said our opinions about them at various times on this pod, but putting out a deluxe a week after the original, why? Like, why?
The thing to do right now.
Well, my thing is, why release a deluxe when there's already 25 songs in the project?
That was my first question. And two, I remember there was like people used to drop the deluxe the same day. Like when you buy an album, you get either the standard or deluxe. Like I remember that, but this just feels like 25 songs out the gate and you're giving me a deluxe with even more a week later. Can I digest the 20? I can't even name 5 songs of what you already gave me. Now you want me to go back and try to listen to more? I don't get it. Like I don't get the business strategy behind it. Is it to like keep the momentum up? Is it to like, because why not just do a video or something instead? You know,
might be in their contract. You have to release a deluxe and a regular. I don't know. I'm
sure their contract may stipulate that. I just wonder if it says a week after the original release, you have to release a deluxe.
I don't know. Maybe
that seems. Did any of you listen to it?
No.
Okay.
No.
So there we go.
I haven't even finished the original one.
There we go.
Wow.
So that
tells you everything you need to know.
So, but the Drake song's fire. So
Drake song's fire.
See, what did I say? I was like, it's Drake's song now. You see,
it's Drake's song.
Ridiculous.
It's so good though. How was the Isaiah Rashad song?
Oh man, you already know.
You already know.
Oh my God.
We don't know. Could you please tell us?
It was really good. It was really,
it sounded
really,
very
really
West Coast, Southern California.
Really?
To me,
it felt the exact opposite. It felt like some groovy, like
I thought it sounded very Southern California.
Interesting. That's interesting. I didn't get that from him because I got I didn't get that from because you hear like the little chorus in the back, like
Mhm.
in my brand new whip.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, but it don't
Avery,
matter.
I'm with you. I think it was West Coast, even though
Oh
I
my
haven't
gosh.
really heard it.
It was a great song though, so it don't matter. But yeah, it was a
When's
great
the
song.
When's the album coming out?
He said in June, but I don't feel like it's gonna come out in June.
Yeah.
I just don't feel like because that means next week, and then the week after that is like July. So I don't know. But if I get it within the next 3 weeks or a month, honestly, I'm good because we already got 2 singles like pretty close
Right.
together. So
It's coming.
Good.
It's coming.
it's coming.
This
Yeah.
Drugs and Hella Melody song by Don Toliver and Kali Uchis. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was okay. Yo,
It's
oh
vibey.
my, is it just me? Why does Don Toliver sound just like Travis Scott?
He does.
Exactly like him.
Well, he probably is trying to.
No, I don't. See, the thing is, if I'm gonna listen to Travis Scott, I'm gonna listen to Travis Scott, not Don Toliver.
Yeah, but Kali Uchis is on this song, so
Yeah, and honestly, Kali Uchis wasn't on the song enough.
I
Sorry.
agree. I actually really agree with that. I think she was the feature on it, so
No, she was the feature. It's technically Don Toliver's song, but like, he sounds just like Travis Scott. and I
Sorry, I had to. My phone was dying, so I have to charge it.
Oh,
so
right,
there's
yeah,
two
right.
things in this conversation. Don Toliver does not sound like Travis Scott.
Yes, have you heard? First of all, have you heard his music before?
Yes, but I don't get Travis Scott from Don Toliver.
You
Like when I hear a Don
you need to
Toliver
fix
song,
your
I
ears.
don't really thought
You
Travis
need, you
Scott.
need to
Maybe
fix your ears. You need to fix your ears, bro. He
I don't
sounds
need to
just
fix
like
my
Travis
ears.
Scott.
I just don't think he sounds like Travis. I don't even know what Travis Scott sounds like with all the autotune he uses now. So
No,
like, it's
he
like, what does
sounds
that
like
even-
no. That's my point. He sounds like Travis Scott with autotune. I'm saying they sound just alike.
Why
And
don't, you
obviously,
stop, why don't you stop attacking Don? How about that?
I'm not attacking him. I didn't say it's. I just said he sounds just like him. That's a that's a fact. It's a fact.
if he
You don't
hasn't
say that-
been
you
on
don't
a
say that to
freshman list, has he been on a freshman list?
No,
I think
He's
I feel
definitely
like Don
rejected.
Toliver was.
no.
He's definitely rejected it then, because he would be on one.
I don't know.
No,
Maybe
I
not.
feel-
A lot of artists have been
No, that's what I'm saying. He's probably turned it down because he would have been on one.
I don't
True.
see Don Toliver getting snubbed. Like if he's not on it, I think.
I mean, a lot of artists have been snubbed before.
No, look, see, Noah's just trying to trash this man. One, I didn't know Travis Scott's on Don Toliver's label. So,
I think it's the other way around.
oh no, I'm sorry. Don Toliver's on Travis
Yeah, it's
Scott's
the other way
label, which
around.
may explain. So they probably wait. Did I say it wrong again? No, that was
No,
right.
you got it. You got it.
You say
So
you're
like,
on,
if anything, you may see that influence because Travis Scott probably could be producing his stuff. So like, that's probably why that's a thing. And Don Toliver, the first time I googled his name, and the first that he rejected it, so they already confirmed that. So I think he rejected it in 2020. They just said he didn't want to participate.
I have one more new release I want to highlight. Do you guys have anything else?
Well, I also listened to this Headshot song during my phone thing, and it gives me Kendrick vibes. I think that's why you may say West Coast. It's that sort of sound. I hear that. That was all.
It don't matter. It's a dope song. The Vince Staples song "Law of Averages" was dope too.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. I thought it was an album. I thought he was coming out with an album.
No,
I got
it looked like an album, but I was like, nah.
It said on the release thing, it said single at the bottom. So I was like,
I missed
okay.
that.
Yeah. One more for me. I scroll through new releases, and I see good old Logical.
Was it good? I
First,
haven't listened. Was it good?
first of all, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, Lock knows how to rap, so it's fine.
He said he's back, right? He said I'm back.
It's crazy because it's almost been a year since we reviewed his album. It came out in July of last year, but we already knew Logic wasn't retired because he released a little mixtape after MF Doom died earlier this year anyway.
Right.
And I remember getting mad. You cried on your Twitch stream. What were the tears then?
Well, maybe he thought he was retiring. Maybe he thought he was. He had a kid. Maybe he thought he was. And
Let's be happy he's back and get.
I never, the rappers. I say this: the rappers that say they're gonna retire never retire because the only
That's
rappers
why
that
I'm like, just don't do it. Like, don't
Yeah,
do the
no
whole
one-
like.
No
the
one's ever
whole,
retired.
the only one that's retired for real is Andre 3000, and he never said anything about it.
Well,
Yeah.
50 Cent sort of effectively hasn't put out a project since he said.
Who are the rappers that like became like pastors?
I can't remember. There was one.
Didn't-
Pusha
Okay,
T's
well-
brother Malice, no
yeah,
Malice,
No Malice.
no Malice now.
He kind of retired.
I mean, he retired. Yeah, he retired for sure. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
It's
But
like-
have you seen someone? Have you seen some like retiring for 11, like not even 11 months, like 6 months, because he put out that MF Doom tape? It's like, I just like, what was the point of
Everyone does
all
it.
this stuff?
It's
Everyone
nothing new.
does
I'm not mad
do
at
it.
it.
Everyone
Yes, they.
does
Yes,
not do it.
literally everybody who said they retired has come back.
Watch. J. Cole's
Okay,
gonna drop whatever that second album is. He's gonna retire for 2 years and come back.
And and I'm not even getting into that because even the people who have come back, it's been longer than a year.
Who cares? Leave him alone, man. Who cares? When
I'm
J.
allowed-
Cole do, he gonna be like this? Oh,
J. Cole's not gonna do it. J. Cole told you after the fall, I'm gonna take a little break, then I'm gonna come back. Listen, I'm allowed to equally appreciate Logic's new music while also acknowledging the fact that he did a fake retirement thing for like 6
Oh,
months.
I'm saying you did a fake retirement. Everybody in history's done a fake retirement.
That's not true. Like, what do you tell? You're pulling that? I'm not. This is not worth arguing over. But like, everyone in history has not done a fake retirement. What are you talking about?
A lot of people have.
Not even a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Y'all, name me 10 rappers who have done a fake retirement.
Oh my gosh, The Game, Jay-Z, 50 Cent has released music. What are you talking about?
Keep on going.
Oh my gosh, I don't have the list.
Keep on going. You named 3. Keep on going.
Oh my God, Nnamdi, we need to do research on this, but a lot of people have. I don't have a lot of people on the top of my head who have retired. I apologize for not doing that research right now.
Find me the 10 rappers who have said,
fine, I will. Fine, let's do a topic next week. We will.
We will do it next week.
We will do it, and you'll be wrong. Like, we're right.
And I love it. Let's do it and I'll be wrong. With the two of you that couldn't even come up with more than 3.
Oh my God, off the top of my head, I can't think of that.
Hold on, this is perfect. The history of rappers retiring and
I don't think about this stuff.
I do.
Interesting.
It doesn't matter.
You can catch my takes on the 97 Demo podcast.
It doesn't matter.
It matters to me and our team.
Why? Like, it does. We're getting more music. Just be happy.
Let's be happy.
Just be happy.
I'm more critical. I'm feeling more
This list has more than 10, so.
Feeling more critical that you couldn't remember your many rappers.
I'm sorry, I don't think about this every single day. For someone who does think about it, you should know this.
I accept your apology. And for someone who does think about it, I know that it's not a common everyone does.
A lot of people that do it. A lot of people.
But you couldn't name more than 3.
Because I don't think about this stuff.
What was y'all's favorite release?
Calm down here.
What was y'all's favorite release? What was y'all's favorite release this week?
Mine was by far the Headshots release because I listened to it. Literally, that's all I listened to since it came out. Like, that's not a hyperbole. I've literally listened. That's the only song I've listened to.
I'm excited for Nnamdi's text later saying, "Guys, I was wrong. You're right."
There's not going to be a text. Again, read the list, Noah. Who are the people on the list?
Okay, let me start. Since the new Too Short was the same age as Logic is now. He said he was gonna retire. He didn't. Did he stay retired? Nope. Tribe Called Crest. They said they retired in 1998. We all know they came back with a project. Master P.
How many years later?
Oh, hold on. You said no. Hold on. You never said. You said retired.
I said more than a year. I said find me 3 rappers who said they were retired and came back less than a year later.
Oh my gosh, it's fine. Master P. It's been Master P. 16 months later.
You know, for our listeners, y'all hear who that is.
1999. Did he stay retired? No, he tripled up.
When did he come back?
2003. Did he stay retired? I mean, you know the answer here. So 50 Cent. Did he stay retired? No.
Lupe Fiasco.
Lupe Fiasco in 2008, 2012, 2016, 2019. Did he stay retired? Obviously not. Lil Wayne said he did, but it's kind of like up in the air. It's unclear.
Most Def.
Most Def. He stayed retired. Now it feels like he's
Joe Budden. Your king, Nnamdi.
Joe Budden's absolutely not my king.
So far, yes.
Has effectively stayed retired.
Yes.
This is really funny because I feel like the reading of this list has only proved my point.
Lil Tecca said he retired and he came back. Logic retired. Said he's back.
So okay, that's your. Hold on. So I just want to,
There's a good track record here of rappers retiring and then.
I know, but I just want to make sure I'm clear. So your Everyone Does It was this list of 12 rappers over the last 20 years, some of which were actually retired for like 5 or 6 years.
Hold on, that was only 2. That was only 2.
I just make sure we're on the same page.
It was only 2. The only 2 that I said actually were retired were Yasin Bey, Most Def, and
all right, well, you at least acknowledge there's a good track record of rappers retiring and then retiring. Like, this isn't uncommon.
This is not uncommon.
What Logic did is not unusual.
It's not unusual at all.
Nicki Minaj is about to do it in like a year.
Like, exactly. What are you talking about?
She already released new music.
He's mad. Why you hating on Logic?
Who's already released new music?
Nicki Minaj.
She didn't say she retired.
She did say she retired.
She had that tweet. She had a tweet saying, "What I'm gonna spend more time with my baby." Then she did that. She was gone for like 2 years.
She literally said she was retired.
Hasn't put out an album.
Hold on, and that's the reason Logic said he retired because he said, "I want to spend more time with my new baby."
No, Nicki Minaj didn't go on a press tour saying she was retiring.
Logic,
they've all done it in different capacities.
I'm not even this. The fact that this conversation has devolved to this, I don't know. I wasn't trying to hate. I'm just calling it like I see it, and I'm not wrong. Your list has confirmed what I'm saying. I'm not wrong.
Nicki Minaj literally tweeted, "I've decided to retire and have my family."
And guess what she did?
And she has
hopped
released
out
new
the
music
game.
since then. Like,
She
I don't know
hopped out
why.
the game and raised her babies. That's
And she
what
released new
did.
music like a few weeks ago.
It was a feature. That don't count. 50 cents on those two.
She had 3 new songs on her mixtape re-release. Like, I don't.
I'm
Ooh,
holding on to
Logic,
my
look
take.
what you make people do, bro. Look how Logic made people feel.
Break up friendships, bro.
He ruined.
Nnamdi, I love you. You're my
that's
brother.
strong.
Y'all the Logic Avengers over here. I didn't realize.
Apparently, I can't believe you made me
I love
defend
that,
Logic like this.
Yeah, you made me defend Logic.
Oh, let's not go to the last. See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all, this is all fake love. I'm not even doing this with y'all. Like, I can't. I'll pull up that old episode so fast and expose the real takes on Logic.
I gave a good review to Logic's album.
Pish posh pish. That's all I gotta say.
I gave a
Pish,
good
posh,
review to
pish.
Logic's album.
Speaking of Logic,
Wait, can
to
I
make
like
it a
shout out
game
one more
these
song?
days, you have to have some Logic.
Can
So,
I shout out,
Shout
can I
out-
shout out
one
one more song?
oh, sorry. What was your song?
This Bad Dream Baby song by Hippocampus. It's one of my favorite bands. They haven't released music in like years, and they're back. I wish the song was longer, but it's awesome. So
How long is the song?
it's like 2.5 minutes,
Wow.
and the bridge
That's a
is
good-
so cool, and it's
a
so
good
short. So,
Good teaser.
but they now it's like for an EP that comes out on August 6th. So
So, no, tell us what we're talking about today.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so because of the XXL Freshman cover, it inspired us. We were and this is kind of a theme of the last couple episodes. We've been talking about, new artists releasing music, how long, they should wait, in between releasing music, artists breaking into the mainstream and whatnot. And we've wanted to talk about this on like a deeper level. Obviously, it's a discussion and during episode, but with the release of the XXL Freshman List, this kind of gave us like the perfect timing of like, yo, this is really timely. The XXL Freshman List just came out, and we can, discuss how hard it is for artists to break into the mainstream and pressure placed on new artists, to release music, go on tour, interviews, social media, all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like to make it as a rapper today is like easier and harder. Like to make it is easier, to sustain it is harder. That's how I'd like. Who was calling me during pod time? Like, cause it's with the advent of streaming and like social media, and it's easy to like to get a following, or at least easier than it was before. But I think to sustain it, because you have such like a crowded field and a saturated market, like the expectation is just different. Like, I remember one thing about the Joe Budden podcast that I do remember them saying is like A&R kind of doesn't exist anymore. Like there used to be entire departments dedicated to just developing artists and making sure you knew how to talk in interviews, you know how to perform, you knew how to like really craft your music and get into the studio, and like that was an entire department, and that doesn't really exist as much anymore. And I think you can sometimes tell. So like I'm excited about this. Avery, your friend, is joining us.
yes, my friend Laura Veras is joining us. I've known her since we were like 10, maybe
Babies.
like 10. And she went to the Berklee College of Music. She's looking to get into A&R and music and record labels and that whole world. So we're very excited to talk to her.
But joining us now is the wonderful Laura. Actually, I want to make sure I say your last name right, so I'm gonna let Avery say it.
No, you're good.
Laura Veras.
There we go. I was gonna be like Veras, and I didn't want to embarrass myself. But like we kind of teased this before. The conversation we're having today is one that we've sort of been having for like the last month. Just like sort of the expectations of new artists right now, not even in rap, but just in music. You've heard us argue for weeks about how often should artists release music? Like when does a break need to be in there? Does that impact the quality? Or like, hey, are any of the new artists that broke into the scene during the pandemic going to be able to last when, next year when everyone else comes back? And we have sort of coalesced all those different topics into a conversation on the pressures of being a new artist in music right now. I think we're sort of into rap because that's what we all listen to, but this could probably apply to any genre.
Yeah.
And we literally have like the perfect guest for it, because Laura, you studied A&R, or you're into A&R. You went to Berklee, got a music degree. So we're talking to a scholar here, people, a scholar, someone who knows their stuff. Do you want to give us a little introduction before we get into it? A little introduction of honestly what you just told us 30 seconds ago before we started recording.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah, so grew up kind of wanting to be the next Taylor Swift when I was younger. realize, writing, performing, doing all that stuff, realized it really wasn't for me, but still loved the music industry. So decided to do music business, went to Berklee College of Music and studied music business management. And there, being constantly surrounded by such dope creatives, really fell in love with A&R and artist management and just wanting to help empower artists. And yeah, just graduated and am on the horizons of finding a job in the industry while I manage an artist on the side.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Wow, I manage an artist on a slide. That's a little flex that you just
Ah.
typed in there.
I know, right? Just kind of.
That's really cool. Well, I mean, I feel like that's sort of the perfect perspective we needed for this conversation because I think Noah, we can start with the question that honestly triggered this whole thing. Over the pandemic, we sort of saw a lot of artists sort of break out that maybe wouldn't have had that opportunity beforehand. I think the big names are like a Lil Baby or like Karate Rich, but also all these new kids like who are we talking like Pooh Shiesty or like literally anyone on the freshman list. Like who else?
And to kind of just like, we want to branch into other like genres. And Avery, you correct me if I'm wrong, but the pandemic kind of helped artists like Phoebe and like Charlie XCX. Like it feels like they hit another not a stratosphere, but like a whole nother audience kind of was introduced to them because of the pandemic and the type of music that was being made too at the time. I don't know. That's how I feel, but yeah. So I just wanted to add to your list.
Oh, I thought you were gonna take over the
Oh no.
I was like,
I was just adding to your list of artists. That's all. I was just adding to your list of artists. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you about that. Do you think the pandemic sort of gave like newer artists or artists that maybe didn't have as much exposure actually the opportunity to shine, since like a lot of bigger artists were more hesitant to put out music because of the pandemic?
Absolutely. I think it was kind of like a chain reaction, right? I think it was the perfect storm between the pandemic and TikTok and just social media having such an influence on how much we consume and the type of content we consume. Like everything is so instant gratification centered right now that, everything is going viral and it's like the market is so oversaturated with that. So yeah, I definitely think it had a huge influence in the way we're consuming music right now.
Now, let me ask you, because a lot of artists did sort of break in on the TikTok wave, like a lot. I don't know why I keep on going back to Pooh Shiesty, but he's one of them. But we've talked literally every week about artists who have benefited from, like Doja Cat at a certain point benefited from TikTok. Meg Thee Stallion has benefited from TikTok. Do you see that as being sort of the new wave for artists that come in, having to not only create good music, but have to master like your TikToks and understand how that algorithm works and know that, hey, whatever song you produce needs to have a hook that's catchy so the TikTok kids will make a dance with it. Like, do you think that's actively part of the thinking now?
Absolutely, 100%. And if it's not, then people are late to the game because it's such a lost opportunity. It's such a syncable moment, those 15-30 seconds, whatever it is. That's such a valuable snippet for people to see. And it's kind of what you already do, what labels and teams already do in terms of pitching your music for sync, right? You have to give them a 15-30 second, a minute highlight to see if it fits on this ad or fits on this TV show or whatever. So I think redirecting that principle and doing it for what 15-30 second part of this song will really grasp an audience's attention on TikTok is super, super important.
That's super interesting because it feels like the previous generation, which is like 5 years ago, but like the previous generation was like SoundCloud was the thing. Remember, it was like SoundCloud artists or SoundCloud rapper. Remember that was like the thing of like going on SoundCloud, finding the newest artists.
Yeah.
And kind of what I'm kind of want to ask you is like coming in and trying to get into the business side of music. How difficult is it? Because like not just 5 years ago, it was like SoundCloud, but then TikTok. It feels like within the last year and a half now, I would say, it kind of came out of nowhere, and a lot of people have to adjust. And kind of like, a lot of younger artists are really on it in terms of like, I'm on TikTok, It's crazy. I was just on Instagram. I saw a 13-year-old rapper who was like, yeah, I'm on TikTok. I'm the hottest new 13-year-old rapper on TikTok. But how do you like, what do you feel like that adjustment is like for people who are like in the previous generation? Now they have to kind of, move over into TikTok and try to figure out that lane. Like how difficult you think that is?
Yeah, I think it's really difficult. And I think that same principle of, being able to adapt is synonymous to everything, right? It's synonymous to not only just being an artist, but being on the business side of the music industry or any type of business, right? You have to be able to adapt to the times. And so we're probably seeing a lot of artists that aren't able to adapt and transition and understand how to use that platform to their benefit. And it's gonna, not work in their favor in the long run, because you have to be an early adopter to situations like this in order for you to get ahead and reap the benefits of the platform that is inevitably going to take off, and that this trend is inevitably going to take off, right? So it's to your benefit to understand it and be the person that's first before anyone else.
I want to go back to something you said earlier that caught my attention. You said like artists before already had to pitch like 15 or 30 seconds of like their song for an ad or something. Now they have to do it for TikTok. So I've always talked on this podcast, like I have this enormous insight into how record labels think. What, I think I have some insight, but I really don't. Like a lot of it is just like whether what I've heard like rap people say or books I've read or whatever, but I feel like you kind of have more insight into the thinking of a record label as far as like how an artist will pitch a song, how to even sell an artist to a label. So like, can you sort of speak to that? Like how does that work? Like how, if I'm a new artist and maybe I have this song that caught on TikTok, how do I then take that little buzz and turn it into like a 6 or 7 figure record deal?
So yeah, good question. So
I guess that was kind of a lot.
No, it's tough, right? Because one thing I'll say before I kind of jump into your answer is it all boils down to your artist vision, right? And I think that's what's really important for like artists to understand, is that a record label is not the end all be all. And just because your song takes off and that it's viral and you're having this moment doesn't mean you need a record deal in order to keep going. It's just your launching point. So with that being said, though, yeah, there's always a benefit in some situations for artists to sign a deal. So let's say you have that viral moment and you want to keep capitalizing on it. I think in my opinion, like the last thing, for example, I would want my artist to have right now is a viral moment, because you have to be ready to follow it up. That's like your one shot, 15 minutes of fame. You have to be able to capitalize on the momentum. And if you're not ready, you're going to lose it. And I'm sure we've all seen TikToks where they get, 2 million likes and all these views. And then it's like a preview of a snippet of a song they're working on, and it's amazing and they're doing great. And the song isn't already on Spotify and we can't go listen to it. And they lost that moment. And so now I have to wait, and you're losing momentum in the weeks that you're putting the song together and putting it out. And now you're going to get only a percentage of the people that initially saw that first thing. So I don't really know if that answers your question, but I think that's important to consider, because yes, record labels want to make a quick buck, right? They're a business and they want to see those viral TikTok moments or those viral songs going crazy and maybe sign a 3-year deal just to keep the revenue stream going for their business. But the real big ticket items, the real artists that are making the money, are the ones that have longevity.
I actually love what you just said. And like really quick, I like one thing in particular you just said is we've sort of had conversations about how like sometimes you can tell when like an artist wasn't ready to go famous. I don't remember if I said this here on Endless Scroll, but I feel like that's sort of what you said. Like it's scary. Like it's almost, there's a fear with going viral, because if you can't back that up immediately, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And I feel like you see that sometimes. Like some of the artists who go famous, it's just like, I don't think you were ready for the fame or like the pressure you now have to constantly churn out music.
Yeah.
Do you think that's like going to be a problem that only grows in this new way where it's just so much easier to break into music than it once was?
Absolutely. And I think, yeah, the market is so oversaturated, right? We look on Spotify and there's a crazy amount of number of songs released every single day. Like there's no way that someone can listen through everything. So if you don't, again, going back to that artist vision, understand who you are and are able to continuously push out content and create from an authentic place that will have consistency, you're going to burn out, whether it's a year from now, 10 years from now, whatever it is, it's not going to last.
Yeah, that's a great point because you risk of like kind of speaking off Nnamdi, you risk the moment becoming bigger than the artists themselves, you know, or the viral moment or the song or whatever it is, whatever's making them super popular. Kind of asking about like since you said you're managing an artist now, kind of asking from that perspective. You know, I'm assuming this artist is independent. I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, kind of speaking on that point in terms of like because you kind of spoke to like you know your focus on like longevity of having this consistent you know idea of like putting out good work or quality work or something along those lines. um how do you think with in your personal like experience of managing this particular artist, what's their name? I want to give them a shout
Yeah.
out.
NXG.
NXG. Okay, I saw it, I just wasn't sure how to I just want to make sure I'm doing it correctly.
No, you're
NXG.
good. You're
Great,
good.
great, great. NXG. Shout out to you, NXG. Um, yeah. So, in kind of your experiencing managing him, how is it? What do you find like in this part of managing them? What's the hard part about it? Because like Nnamdi said, I think it's easier to like break into the music scene in general because it's so easier to put out music because you have SoundCloud, you have TikTok, you have
Mhm.
streaming platforms. Um, but what's some of the difficulties that have come along with that? Because then now you have to find the how do you get people to listen to their music? How do you get people to get interested? Because there's so much music now. Like
Yeah.
what are some of the challenges of getting people to find a new artist? Because I think that's a hard part with music now. Because there's so many new artists coming out.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick like which one should I listen to? Like why should I listen to them? So that was
Yeah.
really
Why should you care? Yeah.
yeah.
No, totally. I think the hardest thing is being able to tap into your niche like audience demographic and then being able to like grow from there, right? So I'm a big proponent of finding the top 10 most loyal fans of NXG,
Mm,
figuring out every single characteristic, attribute about them, and then getting, pulling those data points and spreading it. So but easier said than done, right? It's like, okay,
yeah,
where are these 10 people? Like, what do they look like? What do they do? Who
yeah.
are they?
Where are they?
And
Yeah.
it's exactly. So that's definitely the hardest part. But I think once you have that solid foundation, um, it's a lot easier and a lot clearer and more cohesive to grow from there.
That's interesting. I have something else to say, Namdi. That's so interesting you say that because oftentimes, like, Avery and Namdi always like kind of they don't make fun of me. They're like, oh my gosh, this artist is like out of nowhere that I like, this really niche artist that like I like or something like that. And I think from what I can tell, listening to interviews and whatnot, it feels like that's a hard thing for artists to accept. Like, they have these same group of fans. Like I was listening to an interview with the artist named Odyssey out of DC, and he was talking about, yeah, I tour, and it's just basically the same fans I tour. It's the same people coming to my shows. Every time I go to a city, it's the same fans pretty much. He said a group of fans were just following me to every show. It's the same people. I just tour, and I'm comfortable with that. I feel like that's a hard thing for some artists to like accept. Like you have this group of fans that really support you, and you might not be able to break through into that super popular thing. And some fans are cool. I mean, some artists are cool with that, and some fans are not. Some artists are not. Excuse me, I said fans and artists, got them switched up. So yeah, I really love that point you made. I didn't really have a question, but that was like just I really agree with that point a lot.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry,
no,
I don't know what that was. No, that was very good. That was good. I don't know why I'm laughing. I can't control my facial expression.
literally, grow up, man.
But I want to ask you the question that may or may not be the title of this podcast. What are some of the what are some of the pressures facing newer artists that older artists didn't have to think about? As far as like whether that's how things have changed because of streaming, or even if it's like I see having to work with TikTok or deal with like fans and like fandoms. Like, what are some of the newer things that you have to consider when trying to like put up a newer artist that you wouldn't think someone who had to do it 10 years ago had to think about?
Originality, to be really honest with you. I think because the market is so saturated, and if you asked a room full of people 10 years ago, okay, who here is an artist, maybe like one person would raise their hand, one or two people, and they would only really do that if they were like signed to a label, right? but now everybody can make music from home, which is amazing. You know, everyone has the freedom to create and express, but I often find when I'm doing my daily, you know, music rundown of listening to new things, it starts to sound the same because we're being inspired by each other, and we all have the same tools available to us, that it's like it's really hard to have an original sound and a unique thought and a fresh way to say things. So I think that's the biggest thing that people are facing. Along with that, I mean, you kind of touched on it before, but being able to push out not only consistent content, but high quality and cohesive content. Um, and yeah, I feel like just the way things are advancing in terms of, you see like Olivia Rodrigo's marketing rollout, like that was one of the best I've seen in a long time. So having the bar continuously set higher for newer artists to feel like they have to reach is a huge challenge too.
But
This is like a side note because you said Olivia Rodrigo, and sorry, I don't. I feel like I heard someone talking. I don't know who it was.
Avery.
Sorry, really quick. Oh, Avery. I'm sorry. I feel horrible. But she said Olivia Rodrigo, so I want to ask, because we had this debate, and you talked about the rollout. Do you think it was a good idea for her label to have her put out an album like 4 months after her debut single? Because my big well, what did you think first?
I don't know if it was a good or bad idea, but I will say that I wish the album was I wish personally, I wish it wasn't an album. I wish it was an EP. That's not to say that I think that it was a bad move on her part. I just think that the reason I say that is because the album was so strong in the first half, and then the last couple of songs kind of just felt like throwaways to me, and especially the last two didn't really match the narrative of the rest of the album. So it he's like
the happiest man on earth. We literally got
I'm just like, you should have been here when we was talking about that on our podcast. Is what I need.
But yeah, but I mean, I think it was smart of her or courageous of her and brave of her to put out an album in that moment. I think it would have done well regardless because of the momentum that she had. So yeah.
And I was gonna say, like, based on your earlier point, it sounds like it's a low barrier of entry and then like a high threshold for success.
Mm-hmm.
And we mentioned like Olivia Rodrigo and all these successful artists, but what would you recommend to like someone who doesn't have those resources? How do they keep that momentum going after they get that like initial burst of success?
Yeah, I would say it's really important to first surround yourself with a team that aligns with your vision. And that's so cliche, but to expand on it further, like if you want to get signed to a label and you want to have the resources and the consistency to push out that quality of content that requires you to get that attention, find an artist manager that has the experience to do that. Whereas, like, for example, you know, my artist, he's a hip hop rapper from Philly, right? So we're kind of really strong in the sense that we feel like we can do this independently until we reach a certain point and we're ready to talk to labels. So we felt like I was the right fit to be one of the artist managers because I'm young and scrappy and want to do DIY and want to get my hands dirty and don't have the experience of signing someone to a major label, but you know, like, am willing to do whatever the fuck it takes. I don't know if I can curse on here. Sorry.
Nah, do whatever.
do whatever it takes to like make the needle move, right? Whereas, you know, more experienced artist managers will kind of do things in a traditional sense because they're experienced and they know a formula and it works. So that's the first thing I'll say is surrounding yourself with people who align with your vision. And then obviously money is the biggest factor whenever you're an independent artist and trying to, you know, make things happen. But I think there's so many ways that you can do things yourself, and surrounding yourself with creatives and networking within your own community horizontally rather than vertically is super, super helpful. Like, I know, again, speaking from personal experience, all of our music videos up until this point for my artists have been shot by a friend from Philly who's just super talented and is willing to give us a discount. A shout out to Luke, Luke Visuals, you know, and just surrounding ourselves with people who align with the vision and are on the same level and want to reach higher heights with you, I think is my biggest piece of advice.
Can I ask
Great
you a
point.
really a follow up with that? So
Yeah.
do you think you're doing the independent thing? Do you think now artists are better positioned to say, I'm just gonna heck it out on my own? Because I remember like when Macklemore 10 years ago was independent, everyone was like, oh my God, it's such a flex, this independent rapper. Like, but now I feel like it's becoming much more common. So do
Mm.
you think now like artists, because you may have more tools at your disposal or it's easier to get into the market, they're just better suited to say, I don't need a label right now.
I think if you have the resources available to you and you are doing well and you can
What
and
do you mean by
people
resources? Sorry. What do you
so
mean by
so yeah, if you're able to get the attention, let's say you're able to make a viral TikTok, you're able to triple your numbers of views on YouTube all on your own. It's like don't discredit the work that you've done for yourself and be ready to sign yourself away to a label. If you're already grinding it out and have figured out a way to get yourself up until this point, what do you think a label is going to do that you're not doing already? It's just going to be people that, at that level for you, it's going to be a small team. You're not going to be a priority, the majority of the time, and you're going to run into more red tape. So it's like you kind of just have to find the balance. It really just comes down to the artist's vision. And it's like, if you want to be the next friggin' Lady Gaga, okay, yeah, maybe sign a deal. But if you're just trying to put out genuine, authentic music and you feel like you're doing that and growing yourself, you don't need a label. A label is just a tool and it's an option. Like it's not the end all be all.
That's really interesting because when I listen to interviews, I hear people say like, they sign to a label because they feel like it's a lot less work they have to do on their part and their team. It's like obviously there's more red tape and anything like that, but from what I hear, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I hear like people say it's a lot less work for me to sign to a label because then there's a team to take care of my music videos and take care of that and whatnot. So it's really interesting to say that. One more thing I want to ask that's been like a source of like a debate on this podcast is like artists releasing music, and I feel like the word of the day has been saturation.
Mm.
Um, how do you feel about artists releasing music in terms of like back to back to back to back, or how often? Because me personally, I feel like there's a middle ground in terms of like an artist releasing a project and maybe giving them time and giving fans to actually consume the music and take it in, and then release another album or another project, an EP or whatever it is, or mixtape or whatever it is. What's your thoughts on that? Because I always feel like there's a middle ground in terms of you don't have to release something 6 months later or another album 6 months later. I feel like there can be a time period in between artists releasing music. So
No, can I add to that question?
yeah, go ahead.
And like specifically to your artist, since it is rap, what do you
Yeah.
tell when you're planning a release schedule? Like, what do you tell them?
Yeah, I think not only rap, but just any genre of music right now is so single based that it's really hard to push out a project unless you kind of feel like your audience is ready for it and will actually listen to it, right? So for my artist, we really started pushing singles, and we would release singles every 4 to 6 weeks and kind of gauge the momentum that each one brought. And then we would readjust depending on if we needed to do something sooner and it felt dead, or no, let's let this ride out a little bit. It's doing really well. So yeah, that's kind of the approach that we take. But again, it's singles is like really how things are being distributed right now.
And you see that in the broader industry, and like it's something I complain about all the time. Like I get mad when an artist, like when a big artist at least releases like a single in like May of 2018, then they give me an album May in 2020 and the same
Yeah.
singles like on that album. But
Yeah.
like I think to your point, it sort of is because of like where the industry is right now, the whole instant gratification thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was interesting how you sort of just said when you're thinking about whether to release an album, because you easily could say we're gonna wait like 4 months, take all those singles that we would have released in that period, and maybe like put it on an EP.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the thinking as far as why no, let's do this single thing instead of saying, hey, let's like maybe drop a single here, then save the rest for like an EP in 3 months.
Because no one's gonna listen to it. No one listens through albums anymore, right? At least for artists that you don't know or you don't
Yeah.
aren't passionately care about, right? Like we'll all listen to a Kendrick album, like that's a no-brainer. But if you come across NXG and you don't really know who he is, you're not gonna take the time. Nobody feels like they have the time anymore to sit down and really explore that artist. Maybe if you hear the first 30 seconds of his newest single and it's really, really good, and then you'll want to click and learn more. But it's kind of, we have to grab your attention first before we can kind of acquire you as a customer, as a fan.
Yeah, and I guess it's based off like how popular, not popular, but like what level they are. Obviously, you made the Kendrick thing, but like obviously we all have our favorite artists of like who we're gonna passionately listen to. We're gonna click that. We're gonna listen to everything right now.
Yeah.
And I guess it's I'm not like this, but I hear you in terms of like the way people listen to music. They're not gonna click on a whole album and like, I found this new artist, let me listen to all their albums. I'm like that, but some people are gonna like, you know, there's like when I was on iTunes and I was like previewing music, you know, yeah, that's
I'm
really
sorry. Wait a minute. I just Googled NXG because I wanted more insight. Is he Nigerian?
He is.
Yeah, because I just looked at what this man's real name is and I said, this is my cousin right here. Are you kidding me? Oh, that's really dope. Sorry, I just had to bring that up. Well, now I want to meet him. Good for him. That's really dope.
Thanks. Yeah, he's dope. He's dope.
That's super awesome.
Well, look, I think we've gotten our signal that we have to wrap up soon. So I think my last question, very last, and I sort of asked you this already, but I feel it's a good cap. I want you to tell me, in your view, someone who has sort of studied music, you're working with artists now, any artist that's trying to break into the music industry in 2021 needs to have these three things. What are the three things?
Oh, that's tough.
Oof.
Tough question, Nnamdi. Put on the hot seat.
Yeah.
I know you said one's originality or like authenticity. I know that's one of them, and I like that.
Yeah.
I did
that's
like that.
Good job. That's what I was definitely gonna say. Authenticity. A really good team behind you, you know, whether that's an experienced manager or just somebody in your corner, you know, that is helping you out. And just good music. Like, I know that's so cliche, but it's true, right? You can have all the resources in the world. You can have Scooter Braun as your manager. It doesn't matter. No one's going to listen to your music, or it's not going to last if it's not good. So yeah.
That felt like a shot.
That is not cliche. People forget you actually have to have good music now. He's like, what's it take to get in to actually have talent?
I mean, look, I can point to 3 examples who may not have the best music, but they got in somehow.
Yeah, but a lot of people think they do, though. A lot of people think
that's true. That's true.
Well, so the thing I'll say about that too, the last thing I'll say is there's a difference between good music, right, and like and artificial music, and there's a difference between that and like authenticity, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lane for everybody. Just because my favorite artist is not yours doesn't mean that they're any lesser or any great, right? So it's like, if you're truly making music and you truly believe in it and it's coming from a raw, real place, and you're not just trying to be a pop star famous, like that's what people see through. So there's always going to be a lane for authenticity. You just have to find your listeners. I
feel like that's when you become like those, we've mentioned Kendrick Lamar, like when you meet authenticity with like good music, because like you can you can have good music, but it might not feel real or authentic, but you can be authentic and it might not be, you know, like I feel like that's when you meet that super, you know, that's when you become the next level, you know? Yeah.
I feel like I want to put that quote somewhere. Like, there's always a lane for authenticity. Like,
that was good, huh? Laura Veras.
Laura Veras, thank you for joining us and talking to us for a good chunk of your day. I appreciate it. You provided wonderful insights.
Thanks for having me. This was so fun. You guys are awesome. Thanks for having me.
And if NXG ever want to say hello to the pod, get some media reps in, you know.
We'll be back.
I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. We're always down to interview artists.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Wow. So that was a great conversation. Shout out to Laura Veras for joining us for that. Thank you for all the insights you provided. And I kind of want to do something like that again. That was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's so fun.
People on.
Get the people what they want. So I guess let's go to Billboard highlights. A couple of things I want to shout out on the Hot 100, or I don't know where we're starting. We started anyway. Hot 100. 2 things that I think are significant here. And I was, for the people who listen to us when we drop this on Monday, the chart's going to update tomorrow. So this is going to change. But what it is right now at the time of recording, Butter from BTS is still number 1. That's a South Korean group, number 1 for now 3 weeks on this chart. Number 10, Bad Bunny was able to debut a song, almost all in Spanish, top 10 of the Billboard Hot 100. When I see trends like that, you have Kid Laroi. Well, I feel like English artists have always kind of been able to break in pretty easily, but Kid Laroi, number 12. Like, when I see what the charts look like right now and some of the compositions of like where some of these, I don't know if foreign releases is the right word, but it's like global acts, like where they're being able to chart in America. It is, to me, it represents sort of like the cultural shift we're experiencing. Like the whole, yeah, we can really get political if I want to, but the fact that like the people listening to music in America are no longer like this homogenous group that are just into rap and hip hop or only want music that's solely in English. Like BTS has developed this massive fan base because there's more people that like would listen to BTS in America right now. Like,
Absolutely.
Without even necessarily knowing what they're saying.
Exactly. And it's not by any means just limited to like their specific, like South Koreans are the only people listening to South Koreans, right? To BTS right now.
Right.
Like my sister is like a huge stan. She's a Nigerian girl. Like I see who goes to their concerts and like what that audience looks like. And it's like a multicultural mix of like fans.
Is Butter in English? I know Dynamite was in English.
It is. Butter's in English.
Yeah,
And I heard that song yesterday, and let me say, like, that's probably going to be the song of the summer. It's very catchy. It is very like,
someone
summer pop catchy. I heard it for the first time literally at a party yesterday. And
You're going to be at those, at the end of the year. Do you guys ever listen to those mashups with like the most popular songs of 2021?
Yeah.
It's like,
it's going to be there.
Like the YouTube rewind.
That's going to be like half Olivia Rodrigo than Butter. That's what
Yeah, exactly. That's true. That's true. So,
Avery, did you hear this Bad Bunny song? I don't know how to pronounce it, but
yeah, I think it's
Yanaguni.
Yanaguni. It's pretty good. It's the music video is cool. It's just like him going through a day in his life. But again, don't know what he's saying. It sounded great, as it usually does. So I wish I could provide more insight than that, but it sounds really good.
That's good.
And then, have y'all heard this Astronaut in the Ocean, Mass Wolf? I'm pretty sure that's a TikTok song.
It's a TikTok song. It got big on TikTok because people made fun of it for how like bad it sounds. And then people also started like putting the vocals from this song over other instrumentals, and it sounded horrible. And it became like a meme on TikTok of how bad this song sounds.
And now that meme is number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Yep, for 17 weeks it's been on this chart, so.
That's insane. But I mean, hey, there you go. Shout out to him. I don't know your name, but
I think he's Australian or something. Masked Wolf.
Oh, look, that continues the theme. The theme.
I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me. I'm pretty sure he's like international though.
Yeah.
Okay. And then over on the Billboard 200, what we expected, Voice of the Heroes. I want to say it was. Oh, I knew what the number was too. Do I still have it written down? I think it was like 150 first week.
That's okay.
I want to say it was like that. That's where they. Oh yeah, 150 first week. Which was good. The bulk of that was streaming, but like we had a whole episode talking about how like, and streaming is sort of it right now. So I guess that's all that really matters. But hey, good for them. I want to say this was this Lil Durk's first number 1 album? This may have been Lil Durk's first number 1 album. I think The Voice peaked at number 2.
Yeah.
So I think
that sounds right.
My Turn was number 1. I think this is Lil Durk's first. So that's like, hey, significant. You have that.
Yeah. Yeah, big deal. We did talk about that. We talked about that, especially on the Endless Scroll podcast. We talked about how, a majority of rap, it's streaming now. It's streaming. So, yeah, it's no surprise that a lot of fans stream this album. We talked about how fans love this album, at least from what I've seen on my social media. A lot of Lil Durk and Lil Baby fans really, really were like, oh my gosh, this is Kobe and Shaq. Lil Baby and Lil Durk killed it. So.
Yeah, I've seen mixed takes. I re-listened to Endless Scroll, and I was like, I kind of went hard. So.
We didn't say it was bad.
But sometimes like we just be talking on this pod, and then I go back and re-listen, and I'm like, damn, they didn't deserve like that. Tomorrow I'm gonna listen to this and be like, damn, Logic didn't deserve all that. He didn't deserve that. He's a good guy, raising his family. He's a Christian man.
He got family, man. He got family.
Good Christian values, man.
Good Christian values.
Is he Christian?
I don't know. I'm just not making that up.
Just putting religion on his
here you go. The Voice peaked at 2. So
okay, so this was his first. So that was good. I'm happy he was able to do that. And also, I feel like I skipped this, but even though if like this on the Hot 100, they were all over that chart. I don't think it was every song by any means, but I want to say a solid like
7 or 8.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
What is this album at number 5? The Chaos Chapter Freeze by Tomorrow Together. Is this
Sounds like something you take a illegal drug at their concert. That's what it looks
Wait.
like a
Hold
rave
on.
or something?
Yeah.
Chaos Chapter Freeze. That's definitely like you tripped acid and you're in a rave in Las Vegas. That's
Exactly.
like,
That's what I'm saying.
that's what
Tomorrow.
that is.
I think it's another international.
Watch,
boy
we're
band.
wrong, and it's like a gospel album.
No, it's like it's an international boy band. I'm not sure where they're
really?
from. Let me see. They're a South Korean boy band, so it's K-pop.
Wow, so people are coming over the BTS throne already?
Tomorrow Together. I'm gonna listen to this. It's
Yeah,
probably gonna
let
be
us-
fire. Who am I kidding? It's probably gonna be really good.
Yeah, I mean BTS has the bar really high right now.
They do.
Want to know what I want to talk about? When's the last time you've seen a group dominate the way, like at least charts the way BTS? Oh, Maroon 5, but they don't. feel
Oh,
like
this is
that,
a good topic. Can we do this?
right. That's a
A
good
few
one.
weeks.
I'll write that down. In a
Okay.
couple
Oh,
weeks.
wow.
And that's
Hey,
our
we
list.
going a lot of NSYNC references gonna come up.
I can't wait.
Ain't nobody nobody dominate like they did back in the early.
No one's doing
You know,
it like
y'all know
that.
what I'm gonna say though, because there was someone who did it. Y'all just don't like to give them the respect they deserve.
Black Eyed Peas,
The
baby.
Black Eyed Peas.
Okay, but nobody like
That's
NSYNC.
good.
though.
That's
Those
really
album
good.
sales, those NSYNC album sales are ridiculous.
You're gonna
Ridiculous.
stop disrespecting Will
No,
I Am
I'm
and
just
Fergie
saying
right
NSYNC
now.
If you
No,
look at
that's
like
a really
the
good
highest,
point, Nnamdi.
but if you look up the highest selling albums like all time or like the best first weeks, NSYNC got like 3 of them.
Okay, we're gonna look. I don't know if
like
that's
is
I
BTS
can't.
like breaking Beatles records? Is that what they're doing?
No,
I-
y'all, Beatles records are hard.
I know.
I know
Like,
Drake got them. Drake, I
Drake
got one.
just
I got
did it.
slaps in the Beatles,
closest
bro.
person is gonna be
Oh, no.
Drake. Like, and even that.
I mean,
is
like as a group, or
Oh,
Oh, as a group, I don't know. Maybe that's a good. Yo, let's do that thing because that's like a question we could talk about. There you guys know we're doing it. We're adding that to our calendar at some point. Projects of the week. So this is another shout out to Eli of Endless Scroll because he put me onto Kenny Mason, and I feel ashamed for not really knowing him as much. The name sounded familiar, and I realized why. We had him on our playlist once. It was he was featured on the song. I think
Yeah, he did
Serial
Serial with IDK and Jid.
and Jid. So I knew that, and that's how I knew his name.
That song is fire.
And that was fire. So it makes sense that this album was fire too. Like, and he's from Atlanta, which extra was like, damn, like how did I skip over this? I've like, if I had to describe him sonically, like the easiest way I could like explain his sound is like, imagine an artsier Jid, like
That's actually
an
awesome.
artsier and like more kind of like, you know, experimental.
Yeah.
Don't know how to talk. Damn. And
Experimental.
more experimental type of vibe. He definitely a lot of rock like influences that I really mess with. Like he sort of plays around with pop, but rapping is consistent throughout. So it's one of the few projects where I say the back half is better than the first half, but still pretty good all around. So check that out. Angelic Hoodrats, Kenny Mason.
Dope. Yeah, my project of the week is "Don't Go Telling Your Mama" by Topaz Jones. This one was a pleasant surprise. They came out in 2021 actually, and I listened to this like right before we did our top projects of the 2021 so far, and I was like, "Ooh, it was really good," but I was like, "I'm not gonna put it on there because I just listened to this that week." But this one's really, really good. He's from New Jersey. And this one is really interesting. And actually, he came out with a short film with this. He came out with a short film with this album. But yeah, he's from New Jersey. It's a great album. A lot of like 70s funk, groovy type of sounds on this. But he's still rapping a lot. But yeah, he has some good features on here too. Let me get the features up real quick. He has on here. He has
The album cover's cool.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
a cool album cover.
He has Fonte on here, which is really cool. He has Levon Cali, so some good features, and it's really good. It's only 13 tracks, so yeah,
It's cool.
yeah, he's cool.
Excited to listen to those. My project of the week it's a live album. It only has 4 songs on it, so I don't even think it could be considered like an album. I don't really know what you would consider it, but it's called Ulu Selects Volume 1 by Portugal the Man. They're the ones that did that song Feel It Still that like blew up a few years ago.
I remember that. Yeah, that's what I was like.
Yeah.
I know who they are.
So they haven't released an album since 2017, and this is just like 3 live stripped versions of their own songs from that album, and then 1 cover of the Oasis song "Don't Look Back in Anger," which is really good. And I love Portugal the Man, so I was just like excited to see them do something new. I was hoping it would be new music, but I'll take this as well. So
I like Feel It Still, so like I'm excited. Portugal, give us the show.
yeah, they did one of the stripped songs they did on here was "Feel It Still," so you want to check that out.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. Well, I mean, look, I think that concludes what's been a nice, efficient-ish episode of the 97 Demo podcast. Y'all make sure you check out our playlist. We're dropping it tomorrow. Again, we're not doing new playlists, so it's going to be that same link. We're just updating it, which is great because now you just have a go-to summer anthem hits, good music, non-stop bangers with the occasional introspective track, courtesy of Avery.
Beautiful.
On that playlist, so check that out.
Hey, I put in introspective tracks. I mean, I feel like
why do you have to all lives matter the conversation?
Wow.
Oh my gosh, wow, Blue Lives Matter.
Wow.
Don't say, edit that out.
Somebody's gonna clip that.
I'm gonna bleep Noah for that.
Somebody clip that.
Because like we're gonna get you canceled. I'm not doing that with you.
Yeah, that's true. Somebody's gonna. Oof.
But
Rap
again,
lives matter.
Look, before we mess ourselves up again, check out Endless Scroll to see me and Noah talk about rap, and be back next week because we're starting like 3 weeks of reviews. I think honestly. So next week we're doing Herb. You may have a guest. We'll see you then.